In the heart of Hollywood, where dreams are spun and legends are born, there exists a genre of films that captivates audiences worldwide like no other. These cinematic marvels transport us into the realm of real-life stories, where truth becomes more captivating than fiction. Based on true stories, these Hollywood movies bridge the gap between imagination and reality, leaving an indelible mark on our souls. From the silver screen, these movies reach out and touch our hearts, reminding us of the remarkable triumphs and tribulations that ordinary individuals have experienced. They shine a light on the unsung heroes, those whose lives were etched with courage, resilience, and unwavering determination. Through these films, we journey alongside them, immersing ourselves in their struggles, their victories, and their profound impact on the world. But aside from it all, it's Hollywood. It's maybe based on a true event, but it is still made to please and avoid boredom. This makes some of these movies altered for continued entertainment. But our story today took a different path. So join us as we embark on this remarkable journey through time and space, where the borders between reality and fiction blur. Let these tales unfold before your eyes, transporting you to worlds both familiar and unknown. Together, let us know the story behind a man who defied his own fate, the very same man that gave Leonardo DiCaprio a chance to win an Oscar. Hugh Glass and his transparent life. Hugh Glass was once a pirate who abandoned his ship and narrowly escaped two cannibal tribes. In addition to witnessing his friend being burned alive, Glass faced a gruesome encounter with a grizzly bear. However, this version of events differs from the story portrayed in the critically acclaimed film, The Revenant, directed by Alejandro G. Inarritu, and featuring Leonardo DiCaprio as Glass. In the film, Glass is pursued off a precipice, reminisces about his Pawnee wife, consumes raw buffalo liver, and most notably, undertakes a harrowing journey of hundreds of miles through a frigid frontier while grappling with the injuries inflicted by the grizzly, all driven by a relentless desire for revenge against the men who left him to expire. In reality, Hugh Glass's journey took place mostly in late summer, contrary to the depiction in the film. Furthermore, there is no evidence to support the existence of a Pawnee wife in Glass's life, and the consumption of raw liver is also uncertain. According to the available sources, it can be verified that Hugh Glass was a real person who survived a grizzly bear attack but eventually met his demise. However, there is no reliable evidence to support claims of him having a Native American wife or girlfriend, fathering a child with a Native American woman, leaping off a cliff on horseback, or using a disemboweled horse as shelter. Originally from Pennsylvania, Glass potentially had a wife and two sons whom he left behind. In his 30s, he served as a sea captain when pirates assaulted his ship off the coast of present-day Texas in 1819. Faced with a choice between joining the pirates' crew or perishing alongside numerous wounded, disemboweled, naked, and drowning individuals, Glass opted to join them. After a year of engaging in pillaging, kidnapping, and killing, Glass and another pirate decided to desert. They swam towards Campeche, now Galveston, the rudimentary headquarters of Jean Lafitte, who happened to be Glass's pirate boss's superior. The two deserters made their way northwards towards St. Louis, the westernmost bastion of American civilization. They took great care to avoid the Karankawa tribe to the east, notorious for consuming settlers, while also steering clear of the slightly more discerning Tonkawa tribe to the west, known for including human extremities in their diet for increased strength and speed. Continuing their journey, they distanced themselves from the cannibalistic tribes and Lafitte's group of murderers, venturing towards the intimidating Comanche, Kiowa, and Osage tribes. The Comanche and Kiowa inspired fear, while the Osage were particularly terrifying due to their preference for decapitation rather than scalping as a form of warfare. Eventually, Glass and his companion were captured after traveling 1,000 miles since their escape from the water, but surprisingly, it was by the Pawnee tribe, which initially provided a sense of relief. However, the Loup branch of the Pawnee tribe regularly conducted human sacrifices, usually selecting young girls from their village. Despite this, an exception was made for Glass and his companion, who represented an advancing force associated with land conquest and genocidal acts. In a gruesome display, the Pawnees stripped and tied Glass's friend to a stake, subjecting him to the torment of hot splinters. As Glass observed this horrifying scene, it became his turn to face a similar fate. Approaching the chief with humility, he revealed a vial of cinnabar, a red mineral commonly found in Texas and used worldwide for various purposes, including cosmetics, pottery making, and war paint. The chief was impressed by the gift and the composed demeanor of the white man presenting it. Miraculously, the former pirate, mutineer, and fugitive managed to escape the fiery torment intended for his companion and was granted an honorary status within the Pawnee tribe. Glass acquired skills in lance throwing, tomahawk wielding, and the art of extracting marrow from buffalo bones. He also took part in consuming dog meat, a practice that may seem unconventional to some. It was during this phase that he likely obtained his renowned and cherished firearm, the powerful and ear-splitting .54 caliber Hawken rifle. Glass developed a deep attachment to this weapon, which would eventually lead to significant complications in his life. A new chapter in his story. After a 2-year period, in January 1823, Glass traveled east with the Pawnee chief to meet with the U.S. Superintendent of Indian Affairs in St. Louis. Following the meeting, the chief returned to his tribe to assume leadership while Glass remained in town. It was during this time that Glass responded to an advertisement placed in the Missouri Republican by the Rocky Mountain Fur Company. The company was in search of 100 men willing to abandon their lavish clothing, families, and city life to embark on a journey into the Rocky Mountains. The task at hand was beaver trapping, offering an annual salary of $200. After spending several years in the western wilderness, he joined an expedition up the Missouri River led by William Ashley and Andrew Henry. They used long boats similar to those employed by Lewis and Clark on their journey 19 years prior, navigating as far as the Grand River near present-day Mobridge, South Dakota. From there, Glass and a small group under Henry's leadership embarked on an overland journey towards Yellowstone. While scouting for the party about 12 miles south of Lemon, South Dakota, Glass unexpectedly encountered a grizzly bear with her 2 cubs. Separated from the rest of the group at that moment, he was attacked by the bear before he could use his rifle. Engaging in a fierce struggle, Glass managed to overpower and slaughter the bear using only his knife and help from his companions, but not without sustaining severe injuries and bites. Upon hearing his cries, his companions arrived to find Glass severely wounded, lying beneath the lifeless bear. They promptly fired at the bear and attended to Glass's injuries as best they could, expecting him to perish. In their haste to reach Yellowstone, Henry sought volunteers to stay until Glass passed away so they could bury him. John Fitzgerald and Jim Bridger agreed and began digging a grave. However, after 3 days, Glass was still alive. Fitzgerald and Bridger grew anxious as a group of hostile Indians approached. Hastily, they took Glass's rifle, knife, and belongings, and they placed him in an open grave, covering him with a bearskin and a thin layer of dirt and leaves, where they left Glass, believing him to be meeting his end. Contrary to their expectations, Glass survived. Regaining consciousness in a dire situation, he found himself alone and unarmed in hostile Indian territory. His leg was broken, his wounds were festering, and his scalp nearly torn off, and his back was exposed with rib bones visible. The nearest help was 200 miles away at Fort Kiowa. His only form of protection was that bearskin. Glass bravely set his own broken leg, and on September 9, 1823, began crawling south overland towards the Cheyenne River, approximately 100 miles away. Fever and infection frequently rendered him unconscious. On one occasion, he regained consciousness to find a large grizzly bear standing over him. According to legend, the bear licked Glass's wounds infested with maggots, which potentially saved him from further infection and other worst-case scenarios. Glass sustained himself mostly on wild berries and roots, and on one occasion, he managed to scare off 2 wolves from a downed bison calf, allowing him to consume the raw meat. Driven by a thirst for revenge, as Glass recounted, his determination to survive was fueled by the thought of avenging the men who had left him to perish. It took Glass a span of 2 months to crawl to the Cheyenne River. Once there, he constructed a makeshift raft using a fallen tree, and let the river's current carrying him downstream towards the Missouri River, eventually reaching Fort Kiowa, located approximately 4 miles north of present-day Chamberlain. After recovering his health, which took several months, Glass indeed set out to seek retribution against the 2 men who had abandoned him. He encountered Bridger at a fur trading post along the Yellowstone River, but chose not to off him, as Bridger was only 19 years old at the time. Glass later found Fitzgerald, but also spared his life, as Fitzgerald had joined the army. Glass eventually returned to the Upper Missouri region, where he met his demise in 1833, during a confrontation with hostile Arikara Indians. Although Glass was known for his reticence, his extraordinary trek became a widely shared tale among fellow frontiersmen and various Native American tribes. The story itself required no embellishment, but certain versions, which were untrue, claim that Glass had cut out the still beating hearts of the men who had left him in suffering and left him alone to meet his demise, or that he perpetually carried their scalps on his belt. In reality, Glass may have chosen to forgive the men who had abandoned him to his fate. This ends today's video. If you've learned something new, don't forget to like and subscribe for more history in minutes.